Next, let's review the time and billing history report. I'm going to select that from our ribbon. Now, there's actually 3 variations on this report that you can run, depending on the exact information you're wanting to see. You can look at client time history, which will give you time history for the client. You can filter whether it's billed or written off, show all the time slips or only unbilled time. 2, there is quite a bit of filtering you can do on this screen. You can filter for a specific client, for a group ID, for a particular biller, for a particular staff person. Also, again, you can choose date range. You can choose specific work codes, again, that you want to report on here. Also, there are options here for additional options that you want to expose on the report or how you want things handled on the report. Now, I'll show you a time history report here first, and let's do one just for, we'll do all rise, robes, and tassels. And we want to show all slips expenses. And here are my choices there. And I want to look at everything from January 1 of 05 through 3/15 of 05. And now this report is going to summarize every time slip for that period for this client. Here's my work code description, my time slips for that code, another work code here, time slips for that code. Here is an engagement and the time slips for that particular engagement, subtotal for my engagement, and slip total before expenses for the period. Now, too, at the top right here, it does show current WIP, progress bill, adjustment or allowance, AR billed, write-off, expenses, and total value for the client as well. Now, I'm going to come back and look at that same date range, but now I'm going to look at a condensed time history. And now I get my reporting period hours and amount, my cumulative hours and amount for the client. And same type right now, not the detail that we saw on the previous report though. Now too, come back and we can also do a billing history report. I think I'm going to do it for the same client for the same time period here. And of course I didn't get any data. Let me spread my date range out here so I'll make sure I get some data. Well, let's try this. Instead of all rise, robes, and tassels, I'm going to leave my, I'm not going to filter by client, and now I'm going to go back to the 3/15/05 date here for my ending for my period. And now what this is actually going to give me, and of course I had one invoice for that period. Here is all that glitters ain't gold is the only client I had that had an invoice for that period. Bill amount was $110. Down here at the bottom you can actually see the individual time entries, and there was no write-up or write-down. Basically, this is the same report you can get from the Edit View Transaction screen, the billing history report there, but I have the ability here to run it for a date range and see all the reports for a specific date range. And let me look here. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, here's another, actually page 2, and here's all that jazz music store and their invoice for that period. And let's see if we've got one now. Now here's one you can see. Are waiting for you temporaries. $375 was the invoice amount. Here's the time entry that was cleared. There was actually $17.50 in write-up here, so it does summarize how the write-up or write-down was distributed amongst the work codes and the staff on the report. And let's step through a couple more here. Now there's one that had a write down on it. Another write down. Now again, here you can see that it was distributed amongst the staff. But there you get an idea. That gives you a breakdown by invoice for the period for any invoice that was a time clearing invoice. And lets you see exactly what time entries were included on the invoice, what write-up or write-down took place, how that was distributed, and what the actual invoiced amount was. So that's the three basic reports that you can get from here. And again, with the filtering options that you have, you can get quite a different report depending on how you do the filtering. But that is the client time billing history report.